Hi everybody. I am really not free to do a live stream, but I thought I want to quickly give some context to a very important news that come out. Okay, so the MAS have kind of announced a very important news that it has booked a 30.8 billion dollar losses in the fight against inflation. A lot of people extrapolated that, wow, the government lost so much money, $30 billion, yeah. So we should hold the government accountable, that kind of thing. So I want to put some context to that before a lot of people misunderstand what really happened. And this is not exactly a loss. So before, although it does have implication to us as a fellow Singaporean, in terms of our national reserve in Sing dollar terms and things like that. But really, frankly speaking, we really need to understand what this is all about. So this video is for you to have some context to what really happened, so that you understand what's the implication to you and to the country. So first of all, the MAS holds a large chunk of our national reserve, okay? And it holds this reserve mainly in foreign currency. And who are our major trading partners is largely the US, largely maybe Japan, and maybe the euros. Okay, so maybe these three blocks are, I would imagine, I don't know the detail, I would imagine a very sizable chunk would be in US dollar. Okay, so our national reserve held by the MAS is in the tune of $500 billion or so. I read it somewhere, okay? So $500 billion or so, and these are mainly in foreign currency. I would imagine that a large chunk of them is in US dollar, the yen and the euro. And more or less over the 12 months in concern, the US dollar has depreciated against the Sing dollar around 4%. It was around, depending which point you calculated, it was at a high of 1.44, 0.45 or so. I know because those were the times where I was firing my shots. Okay, I was firing my shots into S&P 500. We bought them, a lot of them, around 1.44, 1.45 or so. Today, it has come down and more or less around the point of 1.35 or so. So in terms of the depreciation of the US dollar against the Sing, it's around 4% or so. So let's assume that the entire chunk is the entire chunk of our foreign reserve is in US dollar, which is not, okay. But let's assume this. So if you take 500 billion times a depreciation roughly of 4%, so it times 0.96, okay, which is 4% off, okay, it's about 480, which means that the 4%, okay, is about $20 billion losses. So let's take a look at the news, okay. The news says that, out of that $30 billion losses, the local dollar, which is Sing dollar, appreciated in currency such as the US dollar, euro, yen and British pound, okay. Negative translation effects amount to 21.4 billion. So I'm not very far away from these back envelope calculations. So in short, actually, it's our Sing dollar appreciation. So when you calculate the value of our foreign reserves, national reserve in foreign currency, it has depreciated. So it's as good as let's say I buy a Malaysia house, right? Let's say at $2 million, and then tomorrow the ringgit falls some more, then the value of my net worth goes down, okay. But do I really have any out-of-pocket losses? Not really, okay. Yeah, so the amount of house that I own is still one Malaysia house. The amount of national reserve that we hold in the foreign denominated currency is still the same. So really it's not a loss. So it's what we call translation forex losses. So in that sense, a majority part of this $30 billion losses is just simply because our Sing dollar is appreciated. Why do we need to appreciate our Sing dollar? Oh well, it's quite easy to understand. A lot of our goods are imported from overseas. Majority, I would say, I don't know, 90% are imported from overseas, from food, oil, from raw materials to consumer goods, whatever, the majority of them that you buy are all from overseas. Look at everything I wear right now. My AirPods, these are not AirPods, these are earpods, my Under Armour shirt, all these are from overseas, right? So if we and all these prices have appreciated a lot, but fortunately, if we strengthen our Sing dollar, then in Sing dollar terms, it will be cheaper, right? So in that sense, fighting inflation, the best tool for Singapore is not to spike up the interest rate, but to keep a strong Sing dollar. But as we increase the Sing dollar, then our national reserve in foreign currency value will go down. Okay, so in that sense, it's not a real loss. It's just a mathematical loss from that perspective. Okay. Now, I'm not too sure, this part there's about $9 billion losses, high interest expenses from mopping up excess liquidity in the banking system. I don't exactly know what this is about, why the MAS need to mop out excess liquidity in the banking system. So this part probably need a bit of understanding, but I truly don't understand the purpose of this. But that costs about $9 billion, okay? So that's an interest expense. So I assume that the interest expense means it's just a transfer of money from the MAS to a recipient, which I would imagine the majority is Singaporeans. So from that perspective, my guess is not really a loss as well, okay? So from that perspective, I don't think we need to worry too much. I don't see a real need that this is something that's too concerned. The only thing that's concerned is that because of these losses, the MAS does not make a profit. As a result, it cannot contribute money to the national budget of the government. So unfortunately, this means that government will be more pressed for budget, and as a result, this would further strengthen the case that next year the increase of GST from 8 to 9% will be very inevitable. So this part I was hoping there could be alternative, but unfortunately, this is not going to be a selling point. Yeah. So this part is quite unfortunate. Okay. On the international side, the job market have shown signs of strengthening. As a result, the stock market in US have shown some downward correction again. But this is okay. I would imagine that the CPI for next month, when it comes out, should be down further down closer to 3%. Yeah, so I wouldn't be too much concerned about that. But let's watch and see. I think more importantly is that the inflation, the fight against inflation in Singapore, especially in the housing sector, in the car sector, as the interest rate, is not going to come down as fast because of that. It will probably have an impact on the housing market and the car market, anything that requires lending. So I think we need to watch and see this aspect even more. So anyway, this is a short video just to say that although the MAS has lost $30 billion, a significant chunk of it, 2/3 of it, is really just translation losses. So I wouldn't be too concerned about it. But I think that it would have a flow-on effect to government budgets for next year. So I don't think the GST as a result will stop rising from the 8 to 9%. All right. So this is me signing off. Please remember, give the video a like, and I'll see you again.